restaurante donde
On August 6, 2025, Tropical Storm Ivo formed over the Pacific Ocean, about 310 kilometers southeast of Mexico's resort city of Acapulco. At its center, wind gusts reached 85 kilometers per h and were forecast to strengthen rapidly within the next 36 hours. The Mexican Meteorological Service and the U.S. National Hurricane Center simultaneously issued warnings. Ivo could become a Category 1 hurricane as it nears land and may pose the greatest threat to Acapulco since Hurricane Otis in 2023. Ivo's development reflects an increasingly clear reality as the climate warms. Higher sea surface temperatures create ideal conditions for storms to grow faster and become more unpredictable. Data shows that in the storm's formation area, sea surface temperatures are about 1.5 degrees Celsius above the long-term average. This seemingly small number acts as a catalyst, providing extra energy to low-pressure systems and enabling them to intensify rapidly in a short period, a factor that particularly concerns meteorologists. On the morning of the 6th, Acapulco's skies were still blue, and its beaches were crowded with tourists. But satellite images already showed Ivo's broad spiral cloud bands, steadily pulling in moisture and wind from the south. When a storm is still far away, many people tend to underestimate the danger, assuming there's still plenty of time to react. However, climate experts warn that rapid intensification is occurring more often in tropical regions. Otis was a clear example in less than 12 hours. It went from a tropical depression to a Category 5 hurricane, causing severe damage and claiming dozens of lives. By midday, Ivo began to display a more defined spiral structure. Cloud bands thickened, winds grew stronger, and waves rose higher than usual. The Mexican government quickly issued a ban on vessels going out to sea, closed beaches, and ordered coastal residents to prepare for evacuation. In older neighborhoods, residents secured rooftops and reinforced windows, while many hotels and resorts tried to keep operating normally until the last moment. According to environmentalists, this delay often stems from complacency and short-term economic interests, but it carries serious risks if the storm changes direction or speeds up. One notable aspect of this emergency response was how information spread on social media. Beyond official weather bulletins, everyday videos from a family arguing over whether to stay or leave, to a shop owner nailing boards over windows while cracking jokes drew tens of thousands of comments and shares. This shows that when messages about danger are conveyed through relatable, even humorous situations, they can reach the public more effectively than dry, formal announcements. Environmental communication specialists say this is a tool worth using to improve early warning efforts. By the afternoon of August 7th, Ivo continued to strengthen, with gusts reaching 100 kilometers per h and central pressure dropping quickly. Forecast models indicated the storm could make landfall in the early hours of the 8th, coinciding with high tide, which would heighten the risk of coastal flooding. Low-lying areas around Acapulco Bay were placed under a red alert. Rescue teams, the military, and volunteers were deployed to help evacuate residents. From an environmental perspective, the impact of a storm like Ivo extends far beyond the immediate damage. After the storm passes, coastal ecosystems often take years to recover. Coral reefs can be broken by waves, mangrove forests uprooted, and freshwater supplies contaminated by saltwater. The worrying part is that as storms become more frequent and intense, the natural recovery period between disasters is no longer sufficient. This leads to continuous and cumulative environmental degradation. The Ivo event is another reminder that adapting to climate change cannot rely solely on last-minute reactions when a storm is approaching. Long-term planning is needed, strengthening infrastructure, redesigning coastal communities, and restoring and protecting natural ecosystems that serve as natural barriers against storms. Lessons from Otis and other hurricanes show that when ecosystems are healthy with expansive mangrove forests and intact coral reefs, the loss of life and property is significantly reduced. On the night of August 7th into the early morning of August 8th, Ivo neared the coast, bringing heavy rain and fierce winds. Despite swift evacuation efforts, some areas were still cut off due to deep flooding. Live footage from observation stations showed waves over 4 meters high crashing ashore, sweeping away various objects. As the sun rose, the storm began to weaken after moving inland. But what remained was a trail of destruction: rooftops torn off, trees uprooted, and power and water systems disrupted. Relief teams and environmental workers immediately began assisting residents, securing water supplies, collecting debris, and assessing ecological damage. The story of Ivo is not just another weather report. It is a wake-up call about a climate that is changing faster than humanity's ability to adapt. Each storm, flood, and extreme heat wave is another link in the chain of consequences from a destabilized climate system. And as these events become the new normal, the question is no longer whether they will happen, but whether we are prepared to live with them. The final message to everyone is this: nature does not recognize borders, but human actions can determine how vulnerable a community is to disasters. Reducing emissions, protecting the environment, and building resilient communities are no longer luxuries, they are urgent necessities. Only by making proactive changes can we lessen the destructive force of storms like Ivo and leave behind a safer planet for future generations. Thank you for watching this video from Raging Planet. If you found it valuable, please give it a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into climate, nature, and humanity. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest updates. Some visuals in this video are for illustrative purposes and may not depict the full extent of the real events. Always stay updated with your local weather forecasts and prepare safety plans for yourself and your family. We'll see you in the next video.